All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to our 10 Tampa Bay Facebook Live here as we get to talk about the Buccaneers 2020 schedule, which, of course, will begin in New Orleans, and the entire NFL season will finish off right here in our backyard in Tampa Bay. Ryan Bass here with you. We're joined by Rob Higgins, the Executive Director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission, and, of course, the CEO of the Super Bowl LV Host Committee, my boy Justin Granite. And I'll tell you, we've got Rob wearing the Bucs gear, representing the hometown team. I'm going all corporate. And Jay, you look like you just went to a dinner party.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to stay professional because the two of you are dressing down right now. Someone's got to keep it classy.
I'm guessing Jay has on a nice pair of dress shorts and maybe some loafers to go with that look right there.
Socks and basketball shorts, boys.
Prove it. Nice. Prove it. I want to see it. You got to prove it. There it is.
There it is.
There it is. Guys, it's just so nice to sit here and talk about football. Obviously, thoughts with everybody. We're all going through, this pandemic together, and we'll take some of your questions here, of course, on the Facebook Live as well as we kind of go through this. But it's so cool to talk about football. Obviously, the season is here. Rob, as far as the Super Bowl is concerned, ESPN reported today when they went on the air at 8 o'clock that Adam Schefter said, after speaking with you and talking with some folks from the NFL, that there is a possible contingency plan with the February 7th, 2021 date, Super Bowl LV at Raymond James Stadium. What can you talk about that, given the fact that you helped plan this and you're in conversations with the NFL? Is there a potential for this date to be shifted back amid everything that's going on?
We stay in constant contact with the NFL. I mean, we're on dozens of Zoom calls, conference calls, texts, everything seamless, from sun up to sundown and a lot of times overnight as well. And all the focus right now is on February 7th. There's been no conversation related to anything but February 7th. So that's where we're dialed in right now, 276 days away. I can tell you our crew is hard at work in tandem with the NFL. They've been such phenomenal partners throughout, and we know they're going to continue to be awesome partners as the whole planning progresses.
And you mentioned 276 days away. It's hard to think where we're going to be 2 weeks from now, let alone 270 plus days. So you're saying at this point right now, there's no talk at all about possibly moving this back.
No, I mean, our focus collectively with the NFL and this great partnership is on February 7th, totally February 7th of 2021. Now, if adjustments for some reason would need to be made, we're going to do so. That's what event planners do, but that's not something we've been instructed to do at this point in time. And again, just our hats off to our partners at the NFL for being such great folks, and it's been a pleasure to work with them. We look forward to working with them throughout.
All right, so we got Rob here, and we got my guy Jay, and I like the beard you're growing there, Justin. Is that because you miss football? Or you growing it out until we see sports again?
Just want to be like you. That's it.
Okay, I see it.
Just be like you.
I like it. I
didn't get the memo. I didn't know I was supposed to.
Yeah, you're clean shaven.
Not that I could, but if I would have known, I would at least made an attempt.
I didn't listen, Rob. I didn't think I could either. And then you learn a few things during this chaos.
During quarantine.
Yeah.
Jay, schedule just came out. Obviously, you reported this earlier today. Bucs and Saints. Week 1, Tom Brady will make his debut in the Superdome. What other big schedule notes can you say? Because I know the Bucs are certainly going to be on television a lot this year, especially in primetime.
Yeah, grab your caffeine. We're going to be up late many nights. The thing that pops immediately is 5 primetime games. Monday and Sunday night games combined the last 5 years equal the amount the Bucs are getting this year. That starts on Thursday Night Football against the Broncos. What is that against the Bears in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a Thursday night game. I mean, listen, everyone wants to see Tom Brady. ESPN has their schedule show out right now. The first 20 minutes of that show, after they talked about Adam Schefter speaking with our guy Rob and what the plans are for the Super Bowl, they spent going line by line on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before any other team. It's the Tommy effect. This is what they could win 2 games. The fact that he has put this city on the map, in the spotlight, in a time where people need to smile, they need to laugh, they need to have a good time. Tampa Bay right now is in the spotlight. The Bucs are getting all the love, man. In 5 primetime games, that bye doesn't come until week 13. Tommy's a little old, so I think a later bye is better because he might get a little achy during the end of the season. And the other thing that stands out to me, all the cold weather games going to Denver, going to Chicago, those are earlier in the year, and all the domes and the warm games, those are on the backside. So I think this schedule plays out really nicely for the Bucs compared to last year when you remember they went 8 weeks without seeing Ray J, going 2 different countries, all different coasts. This is lining up really nice right now.
Rob, you're basically the only one here that, wasn't a teenager, if you will, when the Bucs were around during those Super Bowl years.
Thanks for rubbing that in.
Not to say that you're old or anything, but you're an older statesman. You're more
Thank
mature in a lot of ways. No, there's a lot of primetime games. We haven't seen this many primetime games, Rob, since basically that Super Bowl year. How exciting from your standpoint is you're starting to plan all this and getting ready for the Super Bowl? Obviously, no host team has ever played in their own Super Bowl. It's got to be exciting to you to see the buzz this team has.
Oh, it's electric. And I was watching the schedule release show and the way they led it off with that schedule and went through line by line, like Justin said. Each time I was hoping they were going to pick us for a W because I feel like this is the 16-0 campaign. We'll see what ends up happening, but the 5 primetime games, I mean, that's so solid, and it's the stage the team and the franchise deserves to be on. It takes you back to that heyday of Brooks, Mr. 55, who's helping lead Super Bowl 55, and Rondé and Allstott and the whole crew. It's that electricity, that excitement that you can feel is back. As I've talked to national media over the last few days that have called with these different questions related to the Super Bowl, they're all asking what's the effect been like down here, and it's pretty cool. The other thing I'd mention, just from a primetime game standpoint, Super Bowl planning wise, is what that does is when it brings those national networks in, it's almost like a dress rehearsal of sorts for when they come in February. So that gives us good opportunity to give them a lay of the land, like where their hotel sets up compared to where their broadcast set location sets up. So there's a lot of things logistically, like I was looking at as the schedule got unveiled, of things that we could potentially be able to take advantage of.
So Justin, since you're on this now and you're not, co-hosts of the podcast, Tampa 55 podcast, you got to put your requests in now. So what request do you have for Rob as far as where our setup should be, what hotels we should be in for the Super Bowl? You got any good ones, Rob?
Right on the water and at the 50-yard line. Pretty simple.
Perfect. No problem.
I mean, is there any other option?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide whether you guys should be involved in the flyover or the coin toss, maybe halftime, all those things that we have zero to say in.
I'll go parachute out of the jet. That's what I'll do.
Perfect. As long as you're wearing that outfit when it happens, that'll be great.
Yeah. All for it.
That'll go viral for sure.
Shorts, tennis shoes, and certainly the suit jacket. Looking good as well. Tampa Bay goes 13-1, Mike says on Facebook, with the addition of Tom Brady and Gronk. Well, he'd be missing a few games there.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a new schedule?
Must be. Jay, what do you think? What's your prediction as far as Tampa Bay's win total this year?
Yeah,
I see a lot of people kind of giving theirs.
10 or 11, man. I mean, this team is going to, again, I think until you knock off the Saints, you expect the Saints to win the division, just because they've been in it for so long, and Breeze knows how to pick apart these defenses. Brady's been in the same division for 20 years. All he did was win in the AFC East. It's going to come down to the two of them. I'm not breaking any news here. That's pretty much the obvious trend, and it's for a reason, because those are two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. 10 or 11 wins in the playoffs, competing for the Super Bowl. And, man, I know we've all been thinking about it. Could you imagine? Can you imagine? No team has ever played in their own Super Bowl, but that's because Tom Brady has never had the opportunity to do so before. We're going to see him get a pretty good shot at it now.
Rob, is that something you root? I mean, obviously it's hard to not be impartial. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, come on. Like,
give me a break. I was born and raised here, lived here all my life. I have been a Bucs fan every single day of my life. I feel like the NFL is going to give me a pass on rooting for the Bucs here. So I haven't had it specifically said. I keep dabbling in it, getting the word out, making sure they're okay with it. But it's just so exciting to see every one of these matchups you look at. I mean, the opener at New Orleans, my goodness, Brady versus Breeze. I mean, it sets the tone for what's going to be a truly exciting campaign.
Do you guys have a favorite game on the schedule?
I'd probably go Chiefs. I'd love to see Brady and Mahomes again after that classic AFC Championship game. So that one, or maybe Aaron Rodgers coming to town. Either one of those two.
You know what? And I bet Ryan hadn't even picked up on this yet, but you know what jumped off the page at me was there's 4 games at Raymond James Stadium in like an 8-day run. Okay, so USF has a win over Navy on like November 21st.
I know where we're going.
Then the Bucs will take down the Rams on the 23rd. And then USF plays a team that, let's say, they've been dominant over in its longstanding rivalry with UCF, where they'll take them down
dominant, but
on the 27th of November. And then the Bucs have the Chiefs on the 29th. 4 games in whatever that is, 8-9 days at Ray J is going to be a pretty cool run right there.
It's pretty good. I'm not even going to let Ryan respond because I'm just going to leave it at that.
This
is
is
not a USF-UCF conversation. The people did not come to hear this nonsense. But the game I'm looking forward to is the Bucs hosting the Panthers. No, I'm kidding. We say it every year, Bucs Panthers. Bucs Chiefs, great, awesome, love it. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers is one of my favorite players to watch all time. To get to see him in person, I saw when I was covering the Bills back in the day, him go into Ralph Wilson Stadium and just sling it around there was awesome. Cannot wait for that. That is week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Week 6, Sunday here at 4:25. By the way, every year the Bucs play Sunday, 1 o'clock, Sunday, 1 o'clock, Sunday, 1 o'clock. It's only 4 1 o'clock games. Everything else is 4:25 or later because everyone wants a piece of Tom Brady. And forget about Brady for a second. This defense is really good, and these are the best playmakers collectively in all of football. I don't think there's really much of a debate when you have Gronk, Evans, Godwin, Brate, OJ. Name me a better playmaking team. I mean, the Vikings just traded away one of their playmakers. It's tough to match that, and people want to see that high-flying offense. And even with Jameis, this was one of the most exciting teams to watch in all of football last year because they were in every single game. They're slinging the ball around. And this defense is nasty. So a lot of games that people are going to see across the country.
Yeah,
I love
offense.
The offense.
I was going to say the offense is off the charts, but the key, I think, for a lot of people, a lot of the football purists have always said, you got to keep that defense together. And they were able to do that. And so I think from that standpoint, the balance on both sides of the ball is going to be awesome. I think that's what's going to be pretty cool.
You spent a lot of time, Rob, with Derek Brooks, our co-chair for the Super Bowl 55 host committee. We had a cool social QB draft on the Tampa Bay 55 podcast. For those that haven't gotten a chance to listen, download that. Justin was only on one episode and he filled in and pinch hit for you during these times. Did a great job though, right?
Yeah,
great job.
Right.
Yeah, but it's crazy. You look at the analytics and that episode, out of every one of it, is like half the number of downloads that you and I get.
Actually,
so it's like one
I
of those.
actually think that might be true.
It's like one of those things where, like, be careful what you wish for when you have a fill-in.
That's touche. No one wants to get Wally pipped on this podcast. That's for sure.
With those numbers, Rob won't. Don't worry.
you talk with Derek Brooks a lot, Rob, and obviously you spend a lot of time with him and he's done a lot of meetings. What's his optimism level when he looks at this 2020 Bucs team?
You can sense it in his voice, just how excited he is about it, and who has better perspective than him. And I think too, just from a standpoint of the leadership around the team, he's also speaking about that from that standpoint too, just how strong it is, and as he's visited with some of the guys. So I know he's excited. I know we're excited. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get things started here.
Hey, Rob, aside from the legendary Bucs that you talked to about Brady, what's it like with all? I mean, there are so many connections that you have throughout this area just based on what you do. What's the reaction of just the big time business people, or even the mom and pop shop, or people that you speak to right now?
You know, I was talking to a national partner today out of Atlanta, and they just were saying the same thing. Like, what's the buzz been like? And so I think naturally everybody here is excited, but just on this national level, the media value alone. I mean, I remember the night that the news broke that Brady was coming. On NFL.com, on the NFL official accounts on social media, they had 11 posts about it. I mean, when was what do we usually, from a Buck standpoint, have 11 posts in a year? I mean, the fact that we had 11 in one night, and then all of a sudden, fresh off the heels of that, the Gronk news breaks as well. I mean, it's been quite a buzz, and I think you're only going to continue to see that build up the more and more people talk about it.
You know what? You mentioned Gronk, and I did want to ask you about this since you are running the show come February 7th. Since Gronk will be in the Super Bowl, there needs to
I know where this is going.
I know where this is going too.
For Gronk Beach.
Yes.
I don't know who that could be or should be, but I'm just putting it out there that these sleeves can come off. We could go suit, no sleeves for Gronk.
Nobody wants to see
you have trained all your life for this moment. I know. The CrossFit King, Justin Granite, on stage, ready to roll. I mean, I can only imagine what's going to happen at the Gronk Beach
when
match.
they make the Super Bowl, they need a fill-in. I'm your guy.
I gotcha.
I mean, I'm down for a push-up competition between Gronk and JG because I actually think it'll be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, right.
You'd smoke Gronk, right? You'd crush
Dude,
him?
that guy, you need 14 of me to sit on his back for him to even get a workout.
But hey, how about that? How about that tight end room, though? Think about that tight end room.
Monsters.
Gronk, OJ Howard,
Brady,
and Cam Brate.
Like, Brate's a little guy in that room.
I mean, that is a ridiculous – and they're like that at almost every position. I mean, it's crazy.
It's absolutely nuts how stacked they are at those playmaking positions. And a couple things as we wrap up here, Rob, just as far as Super Bowl planning is concerned, as we have some people tuning in here, just kind of wondering where we're at. I mean, you mentioned 276 or so days away from February 7th. What's going on this week? What can we expect the week prior? Like, what stage are we in right now? Because you've been planning for months. I mean, we've been doing this podcast basically since January. So what stages are we in right now?
We feel like we're in really good shape. Naturally, things have changed in terms of the way we go about things, whereas it used to be so much in person and we'd have a lot of site visits coming in and all those things. So we've only modified the way that we do it and have gone virtual in a lot of different ways. So whether it be Zoom or webinars or virtual tours of facilities and going out and take pictures of place and then even FaceTiming people different venues. So you're starting to see a lot of the different events settle in from a venue standpoint, to whether it be NFL signature events, to even some of those unsanctioned events like Justin can't wait to be a part of. But you're starting to see that happen. I think we're getting into a really good spot from a hotel standpoint. Certainly the stadium campus. I mean, you guys saw it in Miami. That's such a big undertaking. A lot of the logistics are starting to fall into place from an overall stadium campus standpoint. So it is a gigantic puzzle. There's a lot of pieces to it. Again, we're fortunate to have such great partners with the NFL where we're talking daily to start to move those pieces into place so that you can see the masterpiece come together.
I got a question about that. So the physical pieces that are put together, whether it's those stages or any of that stuff that we've seen, those crews are brought in from all over the country with that construction, essentially, I would assume. And if not, if that's here, would there be any setback with everything that we're going through with this pandemic in terms of the physical material making it to Tampa?
No, I think we're in really good shape from an infrastructure standpoint, certainly. But then when you look at it from like a pure staffing standpoint, we do everything we can. This is a public-private partnership, so that we've got great public investment into it, and we've got great private investment into it from a local standpoint. We do everything we can to keep that investment and that money that is spent here in our community. And the way to do that is to lean on local vendors as much as possible. So that first and foremost, if the money can be kept here through local small businesses or local vendors, like through our Business Connect initiative and so many others, we try to do that. So certainly, there's there could be some gaps there in terms of areas that maybe we don't have a local company to fill it, where we then would turn national. But when it comes to the overall spending, the equipment needed, everything that gets put into place, we try to make sure we keep that as local as possible. So in a case like this, we feel like we're in great shape because we have so many Team Tampa Bay partners that are helping come to the table to roll up their sleeves and make it happen.
As we finish out, one final thought from each of you, what you're most excited about to see with this Bucs team this season. Jay, I'll start with you.
Gronk spikes. I mean, is there any other answer?
I don't know, Rob, is there?
Gronk spikes is a pretty good answer for sure. It goes back to that. What would I be most excited to see? Them become the first team to win it all at home.
Let's just hope they break the playoff drought first, right? I mean, that's the first step to getting to that point. And then
fast forward to the end. Says the Dolphins fan.
Says the guy that's going to be 8-8 again with a rookie quarterback starting at the end of the year.
8-8 if you guys play out of your minds.
By the way, I've got my home set up because I'm stuck here in studio. Jay's got his big, massive TV behind him, and you've got the famous plant that has now gone viral from our Tampa 55 podcast that sits behind you. It's very feng shui.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
Trendy. I like it.
It is.
I like it. Well, fellas, Rob, thanks for joining us late. I know you've been up since early morning. Wait a minute. I did a podcast with you this morning. We're doing this now, and then I have to jump on a Zoom again with you tomorrow. That would be 3 times in less than 24 hours.
Ryan, tomorrow morning, I'm joining the Brightside team at 5 a.m. via Zoom. So just as a heads up, I'm burning the midnight oil here.
Are you going to go to bed?
Team TSP are my people.
Even though we were picked last in the social QB draft, we're still your people, though.
I have to make up for it.
Yes, I see what you're doing now. Jay, I'll see you on Nightside. Rob, you're the man. Keep it going. We'll see you bright and early on Brightside, and then I'll be seeing you for the podcast tomorrow as well. Guys, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
All right.
We good?